The year was 2089. Earth was quiet that night. People slept in their beds. Children dreamed of tomorrow. No one knew that everything was about to change. In a small room, deep under the mountains of Korea, a young woman named Kim Yuna sat in front of a computer screen. She was a scientist who studied languages. But tonight, she was looking at something no human had ever seen before. A message from space. The words on her screen made no sense at first. They were not in any human language, but her computer worked hard to translate them. Slowly, the meaning became clear. Stay where you are. Do not leave your world. You are being watched. Yuna's hands began to shake. She read the message again. Then again. Her heart beat fast in her chest. She picked up the phone and called her commander. Admiral Park Do-hyun was an old man with gray hair and tired eyes. He had served Earth for 40 years. He had seen wars and peace. He had seen humanity at its best and worst. But when he walked into the command center that night, he saw something new. Fear. His soldiers stood around a large screen. On it was an image of something floating in space, far beyond the last planet of their solar system. It was a ship, but it was not a human ship. The thing was beautiful in a cold way. It looked like it was made of glass and light. It was smooth and perfect, and it was very, very big. How long has it been there? Do-hyun asked. We do not know, sir, said a young officer named Baek Jin-ho. It could have been watching us for years. We only found it because it wanted us to find it. Do-hyun looked at the ship. He felt a strange feeling in his stomach. It was the feeling a small animal gets when it sees a much bigger animal looking at it. Show me the message, he said. Yuna stepped forward. She was still shaking, but her voice was strong. They call themselves the Galactic Concord. They say they rule this part of space. They say they have watched us for a long time. And what do they want? Yuna took a deep breath. They want us to stay on Earth, forever. They say if we try to leave our solar system, they will stop us. The room was silent. Every person there understood what this meant. Humanity had dreamed of the stars for thousands of years. They had built ships. They had made plans. They had hoped to explore the universe. And now, someone was telling them no. General Lee Ji-seok was a large man with a loud voice. He stepped forward, his face red with anger. We should fight them. We cannot let them tell us what to do. But before anyone could answer, the alien ship did something. A single beam of light shot out from it. The beam was thin and bright. It moved faster than anyone could see. In less than a second, it crossed millions of kilometers of space. And it hit a small mining station near the edge of the solar system. The station was not big. Only 47 people worked there. They were miners and engineers. They had families back on Earth. They had dreams and hopes and fears. In one moment, they were gone. The station turned to dust. The beam had destroyed it completely. Everyone in the command center watched in horror. Yuna covered her mouth with her hand. Ji-seok stopped talking. Even Do-hyun felt his heart grow cold. The aliens had sent a second message. This one needed no translation. They are showing us what they can do, Yuna whispered. They are showing us that we cannot win. Do-hyun stood very still. He looked at the screen where the alien ship floated. He thought about the 47 people who had just died. He thought about their families. He thought about all the humans on Earth who did not know yet that the universe had just become much more dangerous. Then he thought about something else. He thought about his grandfather, who had fought in a great war long ago. His grandfather had told him stories about those dark times. He had told him that humans were weak and small compared to their enemies. But they had won anyway. Because we never give up, his grandfather had said. Because we are too stupid to know when we should lose. Do-hyun looked at his officers. They were scared. He could see it in their eyes. But he could also see something else. Something harder. "Send a reply to the aliens," he said quietly. Everyone looked at him. "Tell them we understand their message. Tell them we will think carefully about what they said. Tell them we need time." Jisiok frowned. "Sir, we cannot just accept this. We cannot let them." Dayun held up his hand. "I did not say we accept anything. I said we need time." He turned to look at the alien ship one last time. It was so big, so powerful, so sure of itself. "They think we are weak," he said. "They think we will be afraid and do what they say. And maybe they are right. Maybe we cannot beat them." He paused. "But they made a mistake tonight. They showed us their teeth. They showed us they are dangerous." Dahun's eyes grew hard. The fear in them was gone. In its place was something older. Something that had kept humans alive for thousands of years. Now we know what we are dealing with. Now we know what kind of universe this is. And now we have time to prepare. He looked at Yuna. "How long do you think they will wait for our answer?" Yuna thought for a moment. "Maybe years. Maybe decades." "They seem patient." Dawn nodded slowly. "Good. Then we have work to do. Quiet work. Secret work." He walked toward the door. Before he left, he turned back one more time. "They wanted to show us they are predators. They wanted us to be scared. But they forgot something important about humans." "What is that, sir?" Jinho asked. Dawn smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who had just decided to do something very dangerous. "We used to be prey. A long time ago, big animals hunted us. They had sharp teeth and claws. They were faster and stronger than us. But we are still here. And they are not." He opened the door. "Because prey that survives long enough becomes something else. Something dangerous. Something patient." The door closed behind him. The alien ship waited in the darkness of space, satisfied that the small creatures on the blue planet had learned their lesson. They had no idea what they had just started. 100 years passed to the Galactic Concord. It was nothing. They had ruled the stars for 10,000 years. 100 years was like a single breath to them. They checked on Earth sometimes. They saw the humans farming their land. They saw them building small things. They saw them staying exactly where they were told to stay. The Concord was pleased. The small creatures had learned their lesson, but they were wrong. Deep under the mountains of Korea, in a place that did not exist on any map, Captain Choi Yoonji walked through a tunnel that went down and down into the earth. The walls were made of metal. The lights were bright. The air smelled of machines and sweat. She was a small woman with short black hair and eyes that missed nothing. She had been born in this place. She had trained here. She had given her whole life to something most humans did not know existed, Project Fang. The tunnel opened into a huge room. It was so big that clouds formed near the ceiling. And in the center of this room sat something that made Yoonji's heart beat faster every time she saw it. A ship. But not like any ship humans had built before. It was 3 kilometers long. Its surface was black like the space between stars. It looked like a knife made by giants. And it was only one of many. Lieutenant Baek Jinho walked beside her. He was tall and thin, with glasses that he was always pushing up his nose. He carried a computer tablet in his hands. "Production is on schedule," he said. "The moon base has completed 12 more ships this month. The asteroid factories have made enough weapons for the entire fleet." Yoonji nodded but did not smile. "And the crew training? All volunteers. Every single one. They know they might not come back." They stopped at the edge of a platform that looked out over the great ship. Workers moved everywhere like ants. Sparks flew as they welded metal. Machines hummed with power. My grandmother was there, Yunji said quietly. The night the aliens came. She was just a young scientist then. She helped translate their message. Jinho looked at her. I did not know that. She told me stories when I was a child. She told me about the fear she felt. The way everyone looked when they saw what the aliens could do. Yunji's hands tightened on the railing. But she also told me about Admiral Park, about the look in his eyes when he decided to fight back. She turned to face Jinho. That same night he started all of this. He gathered the smartest people on Earth, scientists, engineers, soldiers. He told them they had one mission, to build something that could protect humanity, no matter how long it took. And they kept it secret for 100 years, Jinho said. How is that possible? Because everyone understood what was at stake. The aliens have ships everywhere. They have spies. They watch everything that happens on the surface of Earth. So we went underground. We went to the dark side of the moon. We went inside asteroids where no one could see us. She started walking again. Jinho followed. The Concord thinks we are simple creatures, Yunji continued. They think we spend our time growing food and fighting small wars. And we let them think that. We showed them exactly what they expected to see. They entered a small room filled with screens. On each screen was a different image. Ships being built in secret places. Soldiers training in simulations. Scientists testing new weapons. An old woman sat at the center of the room. Her hair was white and her face was full of wrinkles, but her eyes were sharp and clear. She wore a simple uniform with many medals on it. Admiral Shin Boyao, Yunji said, bowing her head slightly. The final reports are ready. Admiral Shin had led Project Fang for 30 years. Before her, others had led it. And before them, still others. A chain of leaders going back to the very first night when humanity learned they were not alone. Show me, the old woman said. The screens changed. Now they showed numbers and charts and maps of space. We have 412 warships ready, Yunji said. Another 200 will be finished within the year. Our soldiers have trained in every possible battle situation. Our weapons are unlike anything the Concord has seen. Admiral Shin studied the numbers. Her face showed no emotion. And the new drive system? Tested and working. Our ships can move faster than anything the Concord has. They can appear and disappear before the enemy knows what happened. Shin nodded slowly. What about the Concord's strength? Do we know their numbers? They have thousands of ships, Jinho answered. Maybe tens of thousands. We cannot match them in a direct fight. We do not plan to fight directly, Yunji said. We will strike fast. Hit their weak points. Disappear before they can respond. We will make them bleed slowly. Admiral Shin was quiet for a long moment. Then she stood up. Despite her age, she stood straight and tall. I was 20 years old when this project started, she said. My whole life, I have waited for this day. My parents waited. Their parents waited. 5 generations of humans have worked and sacrificed and died to give us this chance. She walked to a window that looked out over the great ship in the hangar below. The Concord thinks they know us. They think we are like all the other species they have conquered. Weak, scared, easy to control. She shook her head. They do not understand what humans are. She turned to face Yunji and Jinho. We are the species that tamed fire when we lived in caves. We are the species that crossed oceans in wooden boats. We are the species that split the atom and walked on the moon. Every time someone told us something was impossible, we did it anyway. Her old hands formed fists at her sides. The Concord gave us a warning and thought we would obey. Instead, we used their warning as fuel. For 100 years, every human who knew the truth worked toward one goal, one dream. She pressed a button on the wall. Across the underground base, alarms began to sound. Not alarms of danger, alarms of awakening. Today, that dream becomes real. All over the hidden places of the solar system, things began to move. Ships that had waited in darkness powered on their engines. Soldiers who had trained their whole lives put on their armor. Scientists who had built weapons in secret watched their creations come to life. Yunji felt her heart beating hard. This was the moment everything had been building toward. "Send the signal to all bases," Admiral Shin commanded. "Tell them it is time. What signal should we send?" Jinho asked. The old admiral smiled. It was a cold smile. A hungry smile. "Tell them the hunt begins." Far away, in the cold darkness of space, the Galactic Concorde continued to watch Earth. They saw nothing different. Just the same small planet with the same small creatures. They had no idea that the prey had become the predator, and the predator was about to show its teeth. The Concorde Patrol was bored. For 1,000 years, nothing interesting had happened in this part of space. Their job was simple. Fly in circles. Watch for trouble. Report anything strange. But there was never anything strange. The species in this area had been conquered long ago. They did not fight anymore. They just obeyed. The patrol was made of 5 ships. Each ship was beautiful and bright, made of crystal and light. Each one could destroy a city in seconds. The aliens inside them felt safe. They felt powerful. They felt like nothing could ever hurt them. They were wrong. Commander Yu Minha watched them from the darkness. Her ship, the Silent Thunder, floated in the shadow of a dead moon. Its black surface reflected nothing. Its engines made no sound. To anyone looking, there was nothing there but empty space. But inside the ship, 200 humans waited. Their eyes were fixed on screens. Their hands were ready on controls. Their hearts beat with a mixture of fear and excitement. "Target distance?" Minha asked quietly. 12,000 kilometers in closing, answered her weapons officer, Han Sai-woo. He was young, barely 25, but his hands were steady. He had trained for this moment since he was a child. "Time to optimal range?" 4 minutes. Minha nodded. She was 38 years old. She had spent her entire adult life preparing for war against an enemy she had never seen. Now that enemy was right in front of her, and she felt strangely calmed out around the Silent Thunder. 11 other human ships waited in the darkness. They had names like Black Wolf, Night Hunter, and Swift Death. Each one was smaller than the Concorde ships. Each one looked weak compared to the alien crystal vessels, but looks can lie. "Commander," said her communications officer, a woman named Oh Jian, "all ships report ready. They are waiting for your signal." Minha took a deep breath. In a few minutes, everything would change. Either humanity would prove it could fight back, or they would all die in the cold darkness of space. She thought about her mother, who had worked in the secret factories under the moon. She thought about her father, who had died testing an early version of the quantum drive. She thought about all the humans who had sacrificed everything for this moment. "For Earth," she whispered. Then, louder, "all ships, attack." The human fleet appeared like ghosts. 1 second, there was nothing. The next second, 12 black ships surrounded the Concorde Patrol. The aliens had no warning. Their sensors had not seen anything. Their computers had not detected danger. The first alien ship exploded before anyone inside it understood what was happening. Human weapons were different from anything the Concorde had seen. They did not use beams of light. They did not use missiles that could be shot down. Instead, they used something the human scientists had discovered in the secret labs, a way to make matter itself fall apart. The second alien ship tried to turn. It tried to call for help, but human jammers blocked all communications. Human weapons tore through its crystal hull like paper. The third ship managed to fire back. A beam of bright light shot toward the silent thunder. But Minha's ship was already gone. It had jumped to a different position, faster than the aliens could track. "Return fire," Minha ordered. The silent thunder's weapons answered. The third alien ship came apart in pieces. The fourth ship tried to run. Its engines burned bright as it tried to escape into deep space. But human ships were faster. 3 black vessels appeared in front of it, blocking its path. Before the alien captain could react, his ship was destroyed. The fifth and final ship did something unexpected. It stopped moving. It turned off its weapons. It sent a signal of surrender. Minha stared at her screen. In all the training, in all the simulations, they had never prepared for this. The Concorde did not surrender. They conquered, they died. That was what everyone believed. What do we do? Sio asked. Minha thought for a moment. They could destroy the ship easily. No one would blame them. The aliens had killed 47 humans 100 years ago. They had threatened all of humanity. They deserved no mercy. But Minha remembered something her grandmother had told her. The measure of a people is not how they treat their friends. It is how they treat their enemies. "Hold fire," she said. "Board that ship. Take prisoners." Her crew looked at her with surprise. But they obeyed. 20 minutes later, Minha stood inside the alien vessel. It was strange and beautiful, full of light and colors she had no names for. And in front of her stood the alien captain. He was tall and thin, with skin like blue glass and too many eyes. He looked at Minha with an expression she could not read. "You were not supposed to have ships," he said. His voice was like wind through broken glass. "You were not supposed to have weapons. How is this possible?" Minha smiled. It was not a kind smile. "You made a mistake," she said. 100 years ago, you showed us what you could do. You thought we would be afraid. You thought we would give up." She stepped closer to the alien. He was taller than her. His species had ruled the stars for thousands of years. But in this moment, he was the one who looked afraid. "Instead, you taught us what kind of universe this is. A universe where the strong take what they want. A universe where only the dangerous survive." Minha's eyes were hard. "So we became dangerous." The alien captain's many eyes blinked. "You cannot win. The Concorde has thousands of ships, millions of soldiers. You are nothing compared to our power." "Maybe," Minha said. "But tonight, 5 of your ships are gone. Tomorrow it will be 50, then 500, then 5,000. She turned to walk away. "We are not trying to beat you in one big battle. We are going to make you bleed. Slowly, painfully, until you understand something important." "What is that?" The alien asked. My NHA stopped at the door. She looked back at him one more time. "That you should never have threatened us. You should never have shown us we were in danger. Because when humans are in danger, we do not run. We do not hide. We do not surrender." She walked through the door. "We fight." Across the galaxy, reports began to come in. Human ships had struck 12 different locations at the same time. Patrols destroyed. Outposts captured. Communication stations silenced. The Concorde was in chaos. For the first time in thousands of years, someone was fighting back. Someone was making them afraid. On the bridge of the silent thunder, Minha watched her crew work. They were tired but proud. They had done what many thought was impossible. "Send a message to Earth," she ordered. "Tell them Phase 1 is complete." She looked out at the stars. So many of them. So many places humans had dreamed of visiting. "Tell them the war has begun." The great hall of the Concorde was silent. High Chancellor Varus sat on his throne made of living crystal. His body was old, older than most stars. He had ruled the Concord for 3,000 years. He had seen empires rise and fall. He had crushed rebellions and conquered worlds without number. But today, for the first time in centuries, he felt something strange in his chest. Fear. Around him stood the leaders of 100 species. They were all part of the Concord. Some had joined by choice. Most had joined because they had no choice. All of them served VORATH. And all of them were afraid. "Explain this to me," Vorith said. His voice was like thunder. "Explain how a species we conquered a century ago is now destroying our fleets." No one wanted to speak. No one wanted to be the one to deliver more bad news. Finally, an advisor named Corin stepped forward. He was made of light and shadow, a being from a species that had served the Concord for 5,000 years. "High Chancellor," Corin said carefully, "the humans have proven more dangerous than we expected." "More dangerous?" Vorith's many eyes narrowed. "They were farmers. They were primitives. We showed them our power and they submitted. How can farmers destroy our ships?" Corin touched a control, and images appeared in the air above them. Images of destroyed Concord vessels. Images of human ships appearing from nowhere and vanishing just as quickly. "They did not submit," Corin said. "They pretended to submit. For 100 years, they built an army in secret. Ships hidden in places we never thought to look. Weapons using science we have never seen." Vorith stood up from his throne. The other leaders backed away. When the High Chancellor was angry, terrible things happened. "You are telling me," Vorith said slowly, "that while we watched them, they were preparing to attack us?" "Yes, High Chancellor. And no one saw this? No one noticed?" Corin's form flickered nervously. "We saw what we expected to see. We saw a weak species that had accepted its place. We did not look deeper because we did not think we needed to." Vorith was quiet for a long moment. Then he laughed. It was not a happy laugh. It was the laugh of someone who has just realized they made a terrible mistake. "In 10,000 years, we have conquered 4,000 species. We have destroyed civilizations that were older than stars. We have never failed." He looked at the images of destroyed ships. "And now these creatures from a small blue world are making us look like fools." "We can still defeat them," said General Thane, a warrior from a species known for their strength. "Send the war fleet. Burn their planet. End this quickly." Vorith shook his head. "If it were that simple, it would already be done." "Show them, Corin." More images appeared. Maps of Concord space with red marks showing human attacks. There were hundreds of them, spread across dozens of star systems. "They are not fighting like any enemy we have faced," Corin explained. "They do not try to hold territory. They do not try to defend positions. They strike fast, cause damage, and disappear. When we send large fleets to stop them, they are already gone. When we spread our forces thin, they attack with overwhelming strength. They fight like prey animals," Varith said. "Like creatures who expect to be outnumbered, who expect to be weaker, who know they cannot win a fair fight, so they never fight fair." The hall was silent again. "High Chancellor," said a small voice from the back of the room. Everyone turned. It was a young official from a minor species. He was so small and unimportant that no one even knew his name. "What do you want?" Vorith demanded. The young official trembled, but kept speaking. "I have studied the humans. I have read every report, every observation, every piece of information we collected in the past century. And I think I understand what they are." The official swallowed hard. "On their world, there are creatures called wolves. They are not the biggest animals. They are not the strongest. But they are the most successful hunters. Vorath raised what might have been an eyebrow. Go on, wolves hunting groups. They are patient. They watch their prey for days, waiting for the right moment. They attack the weak points. They make their prey run until it is too tired to fight. The official's voice grew stronger. The humans did not learn to fight from being predators. They learned from being prey. I do not understand, General Thane said. Long ago, humans were hunted by bigger animals. Lions, tigers, bears, creatures with sharp claws and teeth. The humans had nothing but sticks and stones. The official looked around the room. But they survived. They survived because they learned to think, to plan, to wait, to work together. He pointed at the images of destroyed Concorde ships. They're not fighting us like prey trying to escape. They are hunting us. Like wolves. Like the predators they became because we pushed them. Vorath sat back down on his throne. For a long time, he stared at the images floating in the air. We thought they were weak, he finally said. We thought showing them our power would make them obey forever. Instead, we taught them to fear the universe. We taught them that they were in danger. He looked at his hands, ancient and powerful. And when humans feel danger, they do not freeze. They do not run. They evolve. They adapt. They become whatever they need to become to survive. Corin nodded slowly. Our records show that humans have done this before. They faced ice ages that should have killed them. They faced diseases that destroyed half their population. They faced wars that burned their cities. Every time, they came back stronger. Then what do you suggest? General Thane asked. How do we stop creatures that get stronger every time we try to destroy them? Vorath did not answer for a long time. When he finally spoke, his voice was tired. I do not know if we can stop them. Not anymore. He looked at his generals and advisors. We made a mistake 100 years ago. We poked a sleeping beast. We showed it our teeth. He stood up again and walked to a window that looked out at the stars. And now the beast is awake. The beast is hungry. And the beast has learned to bite back. Somewhere out there, in the darkness between stars, human ships were moving, hunting, waiting. The galaxy had warned humanity once. Now humanity was giving its answer. And a Concorde was beginning to realize that some warnings should never be given. Some prey should be left alone, because prey that survives long enough does not stay prey forever, that it becomes something else, something that even the masters of 1,000 worlds should fear. 20 years of war had changed the galaxy. Admiral Park Suho stood on the observation deck of the Dawn of Earth and watched the stars. He was 60 years old now, with gray hair and scars on his hands from battles he tried not to remember. His grandfather had received the first alien warning. His father had died building the first secret ships. And now he stood in a place no human had ever imagined standing. The heart of the Galactic Concorde, below him. The great station floated in space. It was massive, bigger than some moons, covered with lights and towers and docking ports. For 10,000 years, it had been the center of an empire that ruled 1,000 worlds. Now it flew the flag of Earth. Admiral, said a soft voice behind him. He turned. Dr. Shin Hyung walked toward him. She was the lead diplomat who had negotiated the Concorde's surrender. She looked as tired as he felt. The last of the Concorde leadership has agreed to our terms, she said. The war is officially over. Suho nodded slowly. He should have felt happy. They had won. Against all odds, against an enemy that should have crushed them, humanity had won. But all he felt was tired. How many? He asked quietly. Hyung understood the question. 12 million humans died in the war. Soldiers, sailors, civilians caught in attacks. She paused. We estimate the Concorde lost over 100 million. Suho closed his eyes. So many lives. So much death. All because of a warning given 120 years ago. Was it worth it? He asked. Hyung came to stand beside him at the window. I do not know. I ask myself that question every day. They stood in silence for a while, watching ships come and go from the station. Human ships. Alien ships. Former enemies now working side by side. The other species are afraid of us, Hyung said finally. The ones the Concorde conquered. They've seen what we can do. They think we will become the new Concorde. The new masters. And what do you think? Hyung smiled sadly. I think that is up to us. We can choose what kind of people we want to be. The door opened again. This time, a young officer entered. Lieutenant Moon Ji-woo was barely 22, born after the war started. She had never known a time when humanity was not fighting. Admiral, the representatives from the free species are ready to meet with you, she said. Shuho straightened his uniform. How many came? 47 species, sir. They want to know what humans plan to do now. 47. Suho thought about that number. It was the same number of humans who had died when the Concorde first showed its power. The miners and engineers on that distant station who became the first victims of the war. Tell them I am coming, he said. The meeting room was full of strange creatures. Beings of light and shadow. Beings with too many eyes or not enough. Beings that floated or crawled or walked on legs that bent the wrong way. All of them looked at Suho with fear in their eyes. He understood why. Humans had done things in this war that frightened even him. They had been brutal. They had been merciless. They had shown the galaxy that they could be just as cruel as the Concorde when they needed to be. Thank you for coming, Suho said. His voice was calm and clear. I know you have questions. I know you are afraid. He looked around the room at all the different faces. 120 years ago, your masters sent us a warning. They told us to stay on our world. They showed us they could destroy us if we disobeyed. And then they left us alone. He walked slowly among the alien representatives. They thought they had taught us a lesson. They thought we would be afraid forever. But they taught us a different lesson instead. They taught us that the universe is dangerous. That powerful beings will hurt us if we are weak. That we had to become strong or die. He stopped in the center of the room. So we became strong. We built ships and weapons. We learned to fight. And when the time came, we showed the Concorde that humans are not easy to kill. Several aliens shifted nervously. Some looked like they wanted to run. You are afraid we will become like them, Suho continued. That we will rule you the way they did. That we traded one master for another. He shook his head. I understand why you think that. In war, we did terrible things. We had to. That is what war is. But war is over now. And we have to decide what comes next. He took a deep breath. My grandfather was there on the night of the warning. He told my father something that my father told me. He said that humanity's greatest strength is not our ships or our weapons. It is that we remember what it feels like to be small, to be afraid, to have no power. His eyes moved across the room, meeting the gaze of each alien. We know what you have suffered under the Concorde. We know what it feels like to be told that you cannot grow, that you must stay in your place, that someone bigger and stronger controls your future. He stood tall. That ends now. The Concorde ruled through fear. We will not do the same. Instead, we offer something different. Partnership, cooperation, a chance to build something new together. For a long moment, no one moved. No one spoke. Then, slowly, one of the aliens stepped forward. She was small and delicate, with wings like colored glass. Why? She asked. Her voice was like music. Why would you help us? We are weak. We have nothing to offer you. Suho smiled. It was a kind smile, different from the hard smiles of war. Because we were weak once too. Because someone could have helped us, and instead they threatened us. Because we know how it feels to look at the stars and be told you cannot reach them. He held out his hand to her. And because the universe is big enough for all of us. There does not have to be masters and slaves, predators and prey. There can be something better. The small alien looked at his hand for a long moment. Then, slowly, she reached out and touched it with her delicate fingers. Then, let us build something better together, she said. One by one, the other aliens came forward. Some touched his hand. Some bowed. Some simply nodded. But all of them had the same look in their eyes. Hope. Later, after the meeting, Suho stood alone at the window again. Ships from dozens of worlds moved through space around the station. Human and alien working together. Hyum joined him. You did well in there, she said. I told them the truth. That is all. She was quiet for a moment. Do you think we can really build something different? Something that is not just another empire? Suho thought about his grandfather. His father. All the humans who had fought and died to get here. I do not know, he admitted. But I know we have to try. We did not fight this war to become what we fought against. We fought because we wanted to be free. He looked at the stars. And now everyone can be free. Not just humans. Everyone. Far away, on a small blue world called Earth, people looked up at the night sky. They knew that somewhere out there, their sons and daughters had done something impossible. They had faced an enemy that ruled 1,000 worlds and won. But more than that, they had done something even harder. They had won a war and then chosen not to become monsters. They had been given the chance to rule through fear. And instead, they had chosen to build through hope. Galaxy had warned them once, and humanity had answered with something the Concord never expected. Not revenge. Not cruelty. Not a new empire built on the ashes of the old. Instead, they offered a hand, a chance to start again, a promise that the universe could be different. And slowly, one species at a time, the galaxy began to believe that maybe the humans were right. Maybe prey that becomes a predator does not have to stay a predator forever. Maybe it can become something else. Entirely. Something new. Something better. Something the stars had never seen before.